250 men didn't take kindly to being bossed around by some pompous dude from Portugal. After surviving a mutiny and losing one of their 5 vessels, the unhappy sailing party happened upon an inner passage that separated the little baby toe of the extreme southern tip of South America from the main body of this exotic continent. Magellan called this land Tierra del Fuego, or Land of Fires, because of the many bonfires the natives kept blazing to warm them from the Antarctic cold. He found the land bleak and forbidding and chose to quickly sail through. The riches of the Spice Islands were calling. This long channel across the bottom of South America linked the Atlantic to an immense body of water that Magellan named the Pacific for its calmness. The name stuck like a crisply hit pitching wedge. Hopefully, Mary and Ferdinand enjoyed themselves while they could, as violent death loomed on their respective scorecards. After only a couple of months on the newly named Pacific, Magellan was killed during an ill-planned attack on the island of Mactan in the Philippines, proving that while the ocean was calm, the people weren't. Meanwhile, after her husband's funeral, Mary had played her last round of golf. Church elders, the real powers behind the throne, assumed Mary was in on the plot to kill her husband. Mary sought refuge at the court of her cousin, Queen Elizabeth I of England, only to be immediately put in prison. Queen Elizabeth obviously didn't care for golfers, even if they were family. Mary was sentenced to death by beheading. Being a golf nut to the end, with her thin white neck on the chopping block awaiting the sharp blade of the executioner's sword, Mary's last thoughts must have drifted to that addictive new game of her homeland. Perhaps I should go back to the interlock grip. I seem to be missing the fairway to the whack. My plan was to play the game that fascinated both Mary and me, while striving to see the world as Ferdinand had surely hoped to do more of in his short but adventurous life. This idea began while I was sitting at my desk at home on the shores of Lake Washington just outside Seattle. It was a cloudy, gray noon on that typical Pacific Northwest day, and I had on my normal daytime riding attire: red plaid pajama bottoms, black t-shirt, white golf socks, and my well-worn blue slippers. My uncombed hair stood straight up like a Caucasian Don King. Not a pretty picture, but when you work at home, every day is an extremely casual Friday. Unable to focus and begin writing a travel article on a recent trip to Italy's wonderful water city of Venice, I had just spent an hour staring blankly at my computer screen. My stupor was getting close to the uncontrolled drooling phase I considered with anyone discussing the merits of term life insurance. I struggled to stay focused, trying to conjure up in my mind's eye the dreamlike Grand Canal, but as I gazed out onto the gray, shimmering surface of Lake Washington from my second-floor office window, all I could think about was the game that took up 99% of my non-sexual thoughts: golf. That day, my heart and mind and hormones were in Ireland. Glorious Ireland, where I had recently played golf on the rugged, windswept western coast of that enchanted land. Having just finished writing about that journey, I was sad the piece was over. I loved retracing my steps on the eerie moonscape of Connemara, reliving the majestic splendor of the perfect duneland of the Gulf Mecca of Ballybunion, and basking in the brilliance of what has to be the greatest linksland golf course you never hear about, Carn, in the seaside town of Beaumullet, hiding up in the isolated northwest corner of the Emerald Isle. Those great golf courses of the world were where I channeled my pent-up energy. I ogle over magazine pictorials of golf courses with the same lustful intensity I used to save for Miss October in Playboy. Things change, I guess. After college, golf had swept me up as brazenly as Donald Trump's comb-over and become the focus of my adult sporting life. Growing up, I had played most every sport but golf. It was a game that wasn't even in my realm of consciousness. Golf was for old rich guys. It was the game of Richard Nixon, for heaven's sakes. Nonetheless, a golfer I became and played the game whenever and wherever I could. As the years passed, playing in the United States alone wasn't enough to scratch my itch.